no one will know how tough this has been in relation to we were going to give up on a number of occasions, etc. Because the simple background of it was Notre Dame and Navy came for their own reasons in 2012, came into town. John and I and our companies were involved in different ways, etc. The GAA got behind 2014, and again it was for different reasons because of a sanctioning with one of the teams. And then 16, it wasn't happening. And I remember the weekend, John and I talked on the last Friday in February, and unfortunately the Boston College and the relationship had broken down, and we just said it was too big to lose. And we went to set up Irish American events, and it was a rodeo trying to get sponsorship behind it, because a game by itself just doesn't work. So it was really, and we were very lucky. We got Aer Lingus to come behind, we got the city, we got Fáilte Ireland, Tourism Ireland. In some ways in a battle back then, and the game happened, and it was fine, and it was good. A wet damn day in Dublin with Boston College and Georgia Tech to seen the best of the Irish. But then we said, look, we need to keep doing this. There's something here.
On that point, John, I presume you were centrally involved in those conversations with those colleges. What were the challenges? Can you tell us now what the main challenges for them were? I mean, I'm sure some of them were financial, but
yeah, financial is the biggest hurdle, and that's what you've got to clear first to convince them that they won't lose too much money, because they're giving up, as Pork said, a game in their home stadium where they make a lot of money. And in this case, for Navy and Notre Dame, this game was contracted for New York City, the Meadowlands. So they've got one of the nicest stadiums in the U.S., and they're going to NFL stadium, high dollar suites, everything where they can monetize that game. So the economics are issue number one. After that, or in parallel with that, it really is finding a university and a coach who will believe in the experience as being positive for their, not just the school, everybody gets that, but from a football perspective, from a team perspective, some programs will look at that as so different from their routine that a coach has no interest at all in ever disrupting that. Whereas other coaches, and this is who we're looking for, see this as a valuable experience that can help them in recruiting, can help them in their bonding of team chemistry, can help put on the program and educate the student athletes the way they want it to be done.
So the coach is as powerful a decision maker in all of that dynamic.
Coach is extremely powerful, and you hate to be so simple as look at the economics of it, but coaches at the major programs in college football in the U.S. right now are making $2, $3, $4, up to $9 million a year. So with all due respect to the athletic director and the president, they aren't making anywhere near that kind of money. So ultimately, that coach just has a lot of say in what his program's going to do. We want the American travelers who are college football fans, we want to capitalize on what is in their head that they expect to do around a college football game. What goes on for activities on Friday or Thursday, what is game day, which we call tailgating, leading up to the game.
So we're going to look at the things like you're seeing the trumpeters here in the main part of the university. It's where do we do that at 4 o'clock on Friday in Dublin, in City Hall, or wherever the case may be. So it's really taken out of the two schools, their tradition, and bringing it in for the travelling fan, but also for the Dubliners. We're really keen on that as we build the series up, etc. And hopefully in the coming weeks we're going to have a huge surprise and announcement around this game for Dublin that's really going to get fan engagement, bring it to another level. I don't think when hopefully we will announce, and sorry to be holding it for the minute, but when we do announce, it's potentially the biggest ever activation that Ireland will have ever seen of pre-game.
It's mad, like even talking about it over the last while and thinking about it, how the entire tailgate culture really speaks to what Irish people are about. But you're right, it's the trying to get the dubs out of the pubs around Croke Park and get them into Croke Park in time for throw-in. It's like the half-time entertainment in the middle of games, whether it's rugby or it's football or it's GA, whatever it is. There's so much for us to do in that regard. But in terms of the mix of US versus Irish people, that'll be there, because you've spoken about obviously trying to hook that Dublin audience, I suppose, into it. What kind of numbers are you expecting to travel, or what will the breakdown of the people who will actually be in the ground be?
Well, this is going to be an exceptional game as we're starting off with it. We had 35,000 in for the 2012 game, and that broke down more or less 28 Notre Dame, 7,000 Navy. We're hopeful and confident the way ticket sales are motoring at the moment that we will at least get close to that, if not overachieve it. The amazing factor around that, if we do, the record was set in 2012 for the largest ever movement of Americans outside the United States for a game, including your Ryder Cups and your Olympics and so on and so forth, and the NFL in London as well. So to beat that record is on our target. So that does mean for this particular game we need less local audience for it. We'll probably have 10,000 odd tickets in the local market. It'll be the week zero result, so not clashing with Electric Picnic. That's important to us. It will be clashing with the All Ireland football final. We think that's very good in a number of fronts. The first one being an evening kick-off. If you're coming up from Mayo or Kerry or Tyrone or wherever, you can come up and stay with the Dublin cousin and take in the college game on the Saturday night, have a few pints and go on to the Gaelic football final the next day. So we see that as brilliant. We also think that's good for the city to see two major sporting events in, because taking the Rugby World Cup bid and some of the negativity we got back in that, which most people who are involved in the industry disagree with, Dublin is more than capable of doing 2-3 large sporting events on the one weekend, and 29th of August next year will be no better example when you have Notre Dame Navy and the All Ireland football final on the Sundays.